gotkushTV says, gotkushTV, I think the sister Ankhobia said she wanted to highlight some points regarding Rita. Do so if you want to, sister Ankhobia, before we as we wrap up. That's a good point to close on. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sister, for bringing that forward. Um, I mean, in the last few weeks, we've seen a lot of controversy where Mama Rita is concerned.
Mm,
Um, and I've been going through social media and I've read some comments, and some of them are horrific,
mm,
absolutely ignorant,
mm,
no historical context or knowledge to back up some of the claims and statements that are made.
mm,
Um, and I'm not saying that I'm a historian on reggae or the Marley family, but
mm,
I do know what I know.
mm,
Now, we have to respect Mama Rita
mm,
and Baba Marley's relationship. You weren't there and I wasn't there at the end of the day, and they had children together, and now they've got, I think it's 60 odd grandchildren that they
mm,
share. Um, you were None of us were there to say what and was about the relationship. We can read what people say about the relationship. I prefer, as I said earlier, to read what Rita herself has to say about her own relationship. Because there's a scene in the film where Bob reveals, for example, that she has another man. So now all
mm.
of a sudden everybody's acting like all this time you've all been having a go at Bob, and look, Rita was cheating on Bob. All of a
That's
sudden, it's like, well, Rita talks about it in her book.
mm,
And she puts it, in fact, when she tells you the story of what she was going through, you as a woman want to cry. You want to cry because you understand that story. That story of Bob and you and Rita isn't just unique to Bob and Rita. It's a
aye,
problem that we have in the African community in the West, in the diaspora.
yeah.
Bob having lots of women is not unique to Bob and unique
Mm,
to Rita. How do you think Aston Family Barrett's wife felt when he had 43 children? How do you think
mm,
Money Wailer's wife felt with all of the children that he had? You
mm,
know, that was a part of that Rasta tradition. Those are some
mm,
of the things that need to be discussed
mhm,
in our community. We also have to discuss it within the understanding of polygamy as part of an
mhm,
African tradition. We may
mhm,
want to go there, but you
mhm,
have to, if you want to understand this situation in a
mhm,
broader context, you also have to understand it within the paradigm of patriarchy.
mhm,
It that a Rastafarian movement emerges to liberate
mhm,
the world, but the one half of creation seems to be kept in bondage.
mhm,
It that you go to liberate the world as an African man, African redemption, African liberation.
mhm.
You leave your wife with the children to look after while you run off snow bunnying all over the island and any part of the world you touch down.
Yeah.
Why is that? That
Yeah,
is
man.
part of the colonial legacy.
Aye,
Many
aye.
people around, it's not only just about outside of polygamy now, it's not just about that's part of the black man's nature, Solomon's order. That is bucking. That's part
Mhm,
of the tradition of black men being made
mhm.
bucks for several hundred years, but they would just breed women, have no accountability to them. And we
Yeah.
see that throughout the Caribbean. We see it in our own communities here in the UK, in America. We see that same tradition.
Yeah.
You see, so people having a go with Rita was just in it for the money.
Mm.
Please read her story.
Yes,
Go
I.
read her book and put yourself in her shoes.
Yes, I.
Yeah, and think of your own mother being in that situation, your own grandmother being in that
Aye,
situation, your aunties being in that situation, your sisters
aye.
being in that situation. Think of what it's like to grow up as a black woman, to be called Blackie Tutsi, to be
Mm.
mocked because of your dark skin color, and
Yes,
you're
I.
in a revolution with your husband whilst being
Mm.
among your children together and his
Mhm.
outside children. And then anytime your story gets to be told, you've got to
Mhm.
share a platform with a European woman
Yeah.
to tell that story, which
Yes, I.
you're the one who was the bedrock. You were there from the beginning to the end. The last person to see Bob Marley when he left, transitioned this earth, was Mama Rita.
Yes, I.
He didn't die in front of her. She just left the room. She said to get some carrot juice. When she come
Mhm.
back, he'd literally just
Yeah.
gone. But she
Gone.
was there throughout. Don Taylor tells you in the book when he's saying to Bob, Bob, divorce Rita. Because he says even though Bob had all these other women, even though Bob was aware that Rita had this other man, and Bob went to fight the man, Bob wouldn't leave Rita alone. He was so possessive of her. You see that in the film when Bob says, "What did you expect? Did you think it would be any other way?" Some people say,
Yeah.
"Oh, Bob went and bleeded. She went and had a child with another man," and blah. Again, there's a whole dispute
Yeah,
because
there's always
tonight there's a whole dispute about that, which has nothing to do with us about whose child it is from whose child it isn't, because Bob accepted the child as his. So whether you like it or not, that's just the way it is. In the same way, some people say Damien Marley's not Bob Marley's son, but Bob accepted the child as his, whether you like it or not. So that's the fact as far as the situation is concerned. But she's right. Put some respect on her name, her legacy. If it wasn't for Rita Marley, I'm telling you now, we wouldn't be here having a discussion about Bob more than likely. She kept his legacy together. There are many Rasta men who didn't have wives, who once they died, Jacob Miller, Peter Tosh, these men didn't have the women who could come forward and uphold their legacy and foundation and bring all the children and everybody on board, and having the Rasta movement at their necks, left, right, and center for financial resources.
I agree, sis.
So yeah, I'm sorry to go on, but I just think it's just a point we need to take into the full context of her struggle, her story as an African woman. She is you, she is me. She's Shakara's mother, Shakara's auntie, she's his grandmother, and the same with all the other brothers listening to this broadcast. So she's part of our story. Their story, their relationship struggles is the struggles we go through every day in our relationships and our community.
I agree, sis. And I think that we can definitely say that one of the things that the children were trying to do with this is vindicate the name of their mother. And I can understand why. I've grown up with the narratives, of people trying to slate Rita Marley. And what they do is they make this they put this juxtaposition between her and Cindy, and make Cindy an angel and her a demon in the dynamic, and it's very, very destructive. I've heard a lot of people say that Rita Marley, she's not perfect, she's not an angel in this situation. Wherever I'm sure she has her flaws. Bob was no angel either. Right? You know what I'm saying? In fact, nobody in the situation was an angel, right? So I don't know why the fact that Rita Marley, whatever she done wrong, the fact that she seems to take the rap for a lot of whatever has gone wrong and what is ever negative in the situation is a deliberate thing as far as I'm concerned. And we need to be more mindful of it, and we need to be more considerate about her position and her experience in that whole dynamic. Most of the people that I find critique know very little about Rita Marley. They act like Bob was a perfect individual and this was the Jezebel who did try to thief off the legacy. One thing though that you can say about Rita Marley that I noticed very young, no matter where the pit them come from, they all had access to their father's legacy one way or another. All of those children, to a significant degree, know each other and have relationships because of a woman named Rita Marley. That should be obvious. Yes, that should be obvious to anybody who's actually looked at this thing. So again, that's not to say that she's never done anything that we might consider, boy, Rita. But everybody in this situation has done something that we would consider in that kind of way.
Bob's looking is just one affair. They say that she had. I would have given the whole one factory.
I'm trying to say, I don't understand how the man can get born all over the world and she have one boyfriend at Jamaica. They do the same thing with Mama Queen Mama Namzamo, Winnie Mandela.
Yes.
Hey, some boyfriend which she's supposed to have round about the place. The man was in prison for 27 years. None of us could deal with our spouse being in prison for 27 years and we not take something about the place once or twice.
Reverse, Nelson Mandela would have had a lot of children. And let me tell you something else.
Exactly.
Let me tell you something else.
True, so what? Mandela, that's all true, so what?
Let's share something else. If Rita Marley, as a Rasta woman, had begged to go and sleep with a white man and have children from him, Rita Marley would have exited this planet before Bob did. Let me tell you, that's the truth. I'm not asking. I'm telling you, that's how it would have gone down. That would have been a no-no in then times. As a Rasta woman, what? The double standards are unbelievable. But that's another discussion for another day.
We have to readdress the balance. Yeah, we have to readdress the balance. That is the point, right? And so whenever we critique, we have to critique and analyze in context, not out of context. Just